Welcome to Loco Gringo, Mexico, the place where we transform a tourist into a traveler, because you deserve to see more of the world than just what's in a guidebook. Each week, we talk with amazing locals who know the Riviera Maya and Yucatan like only a local can, and get them to share their tips and insights on the local scene, culture, and cuisine from a local's perspective. So, pour yourself a margarita, grab a comfy chair, and let's get the show going.
Hi everyone, this is Kay with Loco Gringo, Mexico. Thanks for joining us today. Well, we're going to be talking to a woman who retired here to the Riviera Maya. Now, she has some wonderful tips of some of her favorite places, a couple I haven't even heard of. But what's more amazing is not the great tips that she's going to share with us, but the work that she's done in the local community. And there's a bit of a backstory in that we did an article in one of our newsletters last year, about this time last year, that was talking about some of the community projects that were going on. Well, one of our subscribers read our newsletter and talked to her company that she worked for in the United States, and they put together a company retreat and worked with this local community project and came down and painted a school and cleaned up the schoolyard and everything. It turned out great. We followed up with a blog post, and needless to say, we became friends with the organizer, who agreed to be our guest today to share not only of her favorite spots, but some of the great work and how you can get involved with the local community, whether you're on vacation or if you just want to help out from home. So let me introduce you to Gayle Collins. Well, hey everybody, I've got Gayle Collins on the line. Hey Gayle, how are you?
Oh, I'm just fine. After all, this is Playa. How can you not be fine?
I know, right? Even though it's a little bit dreary here in the Riviera Maya today, a little bit of rain, but it's always a great day here in paradise, rain or shine.
Absolutely.
So, Gayle, I know that you moved down here in 2007. Why don't you tell everyone where you're from and what your journey was, how you wound up here in the Riviera Maya?
I'm originally from Minnesota, and I was a school teacher there for 36 years, a high school teacher. And I've always been looking for where I wanted to retire, someplace warm. And we went to Hawaii, we went to San Diego, we went to Texas, we went to Florida, trying different retirement places. But it was never consistently warm for me, except for Hawaii. And then that became too long of a journey to go. So I went to Mexico in 1991 for the very first time. I went to Cancun. Although I loved the country, I loved the people, I loved the food, I loved the beach, I wasn't in love with Cancun. So I talked my family into going on day trips to different places here in the Yucatan, like Chichen Itza and Tulum and Chelha, all the typical tourist places, even back in 91. And on one of our journeys, we stopped in Playa del Carmen. Now, Playa is not now the same Playa it was back in 91. But I was fascinated with just this little town where the local people actually lived within the other population. And it was just, I thought, this is where I could retire. And so we came back several times. And in 2003, we said, I think we want to buy a place here. And at that time, real estate was just really getting off the ground. And we said, well, when we come back next year, let's be ready to buy. And when we went back the next year, it was like, wow, we're almost a year too late. Because the prices had gone way up. And we said, okay, we're going to find a place and buy it. So we have a place to come back to every year. And that's what we did. Found a great condo about a block from Mamitas Beach down on First Avenue. And actually every year then until I retired in 2007, we came back. And then in 2007, I came back for the whole winter. And I loved it. I didn't want to go home, except that I had my family at home. So when my husband retired in 2009, he came down also. He was not always a big fan of heat and humidity, but he was a good sport about it. And so for me, it was a no-brainer. Minnesota or Playa del Carmen in the winter. You know, it was less than 4 hours away from Minnesota. It was in the same central time zone. There was nothing not to love about it. So that's how I ended up coming to Playa.
Now, you had a couple of years there while your husband was still in the States. What did you do to fill your time up? I mean, did you sit on the beach and get a tan, or being by yourself? What did you do with your days?
I did a lot of beach sitting at that time, and I was kind of going back and forth between Playa and Minnesota, trying to keep everybody placated because my husband was still working. But I brought a lot of things with me to work on. I'm a quilter and I'm a reader, and so I bring projects with me. And to be very honest, I soon met so many other expats here that I never had to worry about having friends or a social life or what are we going to do today, what are we going to do tomorrow. It was always filled with lots of exploring of the whole coast, all the way from Cancun to even further down than Tulum. And so we just really enjoyed getting to know the Yucatan.
Well, that's awesome. Now, did you find it to be hard? Like, a lot of people ask about retiring, and we get a lot of emails and that, and people are always interested on the challenges. Were there any problems that you had as you went on a retirement status? Do you travel on a tourist visa? Or are you a resident now?
For the first maybe half dozen times that I came to Playa, I did travel on a tourist visa because I was going back and forth enough. I never had to worry about 120 days. But now, shortly after we bought our condo, I applied for FM3 status, and I had that for quite a number of years until I was able to get my permanent residency. And so now I'm a permanent resident. I'm usually here for 6 to 7 months out of the year, but I do travel back and forth because I still have the siren song of grandchildren. And other than a lot of time spent sitting in immigration and trying to figure out what I needed to bring each time I went, I had the usual problems of learning the culture and what to expect of people, but now it's really not much of a problem. I've kind of become a little Mexican that way. And I soon learned that there was an active expat community here that was also giving back to the community of Playa del Carmen. And that really sucked me in. I was so into it. I helped with a little healthcare initiative that was going on here. I worked with a group called Christmas Dreams, and that was a loosely put together organization that lasted for 4 or 5 years, and all they did was work with children in Playa to bring all their Christmas dreams come true. And actually, being a school teacher, you really get pulled into the social work aspect of children also, because you're with them every day. You see them, you hear them, you're around them. You just organically learn what is going on in their lives. And you also try to really be helpful in any way you could. And that's not something you forget just because you retire from teaching. So when I got here to Playa, I noticed right away that, wow, there are a lot of kids out on the street during the school year. So I started looking into that, why that was happening. And I learned a couple of things. One, that they only go to school half the day here. So, yes, you are going to find a lot of children are not in school because it's not their part of the day to go to school. But secondly, it's expensive to go to school here in the public schools, and there's a large share of children that just don't go to school because they don't have the economic means to go. one of those Christmas dream years, that would have been in 2011, we had a local teacher ask our Christmas Dreams committee if we would buy school supplies for the children in her classroom, because there were only 5 children out of 35 that had brought school supplies to school. And it's really hard to teach when your kids don't have pencils or paper or even crayons. And the committee talked about it, and we said, yeah, that sounds like a really good thing. Let's do that. So we put out a call to all of our friends using Facebook and other social media that we were wanting to raise some money or have people bring school supplies with them when they came over the Christmas holidays. And by the 1st of January, we had collected enough school supplies and money to purchase school supplies for the whole school that this teacher taught in. It was amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was so fun. Me and the group that helped me got so much more out of it than the kids did. But it was so fun to see their faces light up. And when the teacher would say to take out your crayons and take out a piece of paper, every kid had the right tools. The teacher was ecstatic. She said it was the first time in her teaching career that her kids were motivated to actually learn because they had the tools to learn with. Now, to you and I, we probably grew up in pretty good public schools. We always had the right tools to learn with, and we had good public education. When your family has to pay over about $20 for a bag of school supplies for you to go to school, that's really more than what a lot of families make in a week here in Playa. And so therefore, the kids can go to school, but they don't get school supplies. If they do, maybe one week it's a package of paper, and then next month they'll get some markers, or however their family finances go. And you can imagine if you have 2, 3, 4, even 5 kids in school, that cost really adds up very quickly. So after that Christmas Dreams experience, being the school teacher that I am, I went to all my expat friends here and I said, this is something we can all do. We can work on this to raise enough money and school supplies to help the children in Playa. And there were a lot of hesitancy about it because we didn't know if it would abuse our immigration status. We didn't know if we could communicate with people because we didn't know Spanish very well, just all kinds of roadblocks. But I had one of my friends stand up and say, I'm with you, let's do it. And that's all it took for most of my friends to come along with me. And that was our start of our journey in 2012. We call ourselves the KISS Project. That's KKIS Project. And this is now coming up on our 6th year. And we are just going great guns. The community, the expat community here has responded so warmly to our fundraisers, to helping, volunteering. It's just really been thrilling. We are now a certified nonprofit association in Mexico. They're called Association Civils, and we are a nonprofit 501c3 in the U.S. So both of those avenues are just really opening up lots of doors for us.
That's incredible, and it's a great story. Now, does the acronym KISS, does that mean anything, or is it just KISS, or is it an acronym?
It is an acronym, and it stands for Keeping Kids in School. We quickly learned that we couldn't really try to get kids in school that weren't in school because we didn't have the social structure in place to deal with the kind of problems those kids had. whether it be financial, whether it be immigration, whether it be birth certificate issues. There were just so many issues. So what we really tried to do was focus on the kids that were already enrolled and keeping them in school until they graduate from high school.
Oh, that's awesome.
So now our work has expanded in a couple of different ways. So for kids in elementary through what here they call secondary school, but to us it's junior high, we give away school supplies. And we tell kids, especially at the secondary level, that if they stay in school, we will help them financially with high school. And so when these kids go to high school, we get recommendations from their teachers and their directors in their schools. And those kids that can't afford to move on to high school get financial scholarships from us. And both of those projects, the school supplies and the financial scholarships, are really urgently needed and really cost a lot of money here in Playa, in all of Mexico.
So how can people help out? I mean, do you have programs where people can either do activities at the school and help out while they're here on vacation, or do you just do fundraising?
We do a couple of things at the school. We have to be very careful about bringing people into the primary schools, very much like it is in the U.S. and I'm assuming Canada. You can't just walk into a school. You have to establish yourself like we do when we bring school supplies. You have to have ID badges. You have to have teacher permission and director permission. And you have to have a reason for being there. What are you going to do when you're there? Because the children in the public schools don't learn English until they actually start secondary at school. So we can't communicate directly with the children. We have had some projects going on in the schools where we will clean up the schools or paint the schools or rebuild broken structures in the schools. And then we will interact with the children by having adults and children soccer games or have three-legged races or that kind of thing with the kids. But it's really difficult to communicate. One of the other things that we do a lot of is we volunteer at a couple of the high schools in their English classrooms. We usually go to classrooms where mostly juniors and seniors are, so now they've probably had 4 or 5 years of English classes, but almost all of the English teachers here in Mexico, and especially here in Playa, are not native English speakers. They are native Spanish speakers. So we spend a lot of time with the kids practicing good English conversation. It takes us a while to kind of get settled into a routine, but we're in our routine now, and we are going on Wednesdays and Thursdays out to the Cite High School, which is a technical high school, and we have great classes there and a great teacher to work with. And our volunteers love it. The kids are so into learning English. And we have another school that we're going to start on Wednesdays out in Villas del Sol. It's a little community just on the west side of Playa. And they have a brand new high school called CETMAR, CETMAR, and it means a study of the ocean. And so all of these kids are there to get diplomas in the tourist industry that involves the ocean. And we're doing the same thing there and having English conversation classes.
That's incredible. And it's, as so many young adults as they get out of high school and I'm sure are seeking jobs in the tourist industry. So it's wonderful that they have the opportunity to really focus on that as a study.
Yes, and I heard a year ago that many of the hotels in the Hotel Association now are limiting the people that they will hire in other than the food and cleaning part of the hotel to people that speak English and have a high school degree. So this is just so important. that we help out in these areas.
Wow, incredible program, and big kudos to you and everyone at KISS for working on this program. It sounds amazing, and your passion for teaching and for children development, kid development, certainly comes through in your story. I want to ask you, though, since you've been here since 2007, officially as retired for the most part full-time, is Playa del Carmen your favorite spot, or have you ventured around the country of Mexico or the Yucatan Peninsula to find another place that has a special place in your heart?
I have not done much traveling within Mexico. I have done a bit of traveling here on the Yucatan and taken in most of the sites here. I love going to different beaches everywhere. But I'm a playa girl. I really like it here. I love this community because it's a community where the people who are the local people here and the people who are the tourists here and then the expats all live together. And we all buy our groceries at the same place. We all go to the same movie theaters. It's just really like a cultural immersion. I love that. I had been to other places in Mexico before I retired, but this is by far my favorite.
Well, it's my favorite too, for sure. I wanted to get your local point of view, and I ask all of our guests on our show this, is what secret spots do you have that you're willing to share? And we would really like when people can come to the area and experience the area on a more intimate level. So that's a lot of what we like to give people as information, whether it's, maybe it's coming and participating in your program at KISS, or if you've got a favorite taco spot or your favorite, little place for gifts or something, or things to do. Do you have any secret little places you could share with us?
Oh, I do have a couple of those. I think my number one find was about 3 years ago, and it's a little restaurant between 11 South, which is the name of a road, and the Central Maya Shopping Center. It's a little place called El Hongo. My experience is always good every time I go there, and now that I've gotten to know the owners, Pili and Goya, and the art school that they have there, we have gotten entwined with them a little more in that I'm a member of the Seaside Rotary Club here in Playa, which is the only English-speaking club outside of one on the border with Texas. And the Rotary Club has funded Goyo's art school, and we have funded his lunch program. That restaurant is a magnet for all of the kids in that neighborhood who are home during the day while their parents work, and they have nothing to eat. So they feed the kids at this restaurant every day. You'll see a crowd of kids come in sometime between 11 and 12 o'clock in the morning. But then I also have a favorite right downtown in Playa. That's my Arabian taco place, and that is on 32nd Street between 5th Avenue and 10th Avenue. And they are so good. They're unlike any other tacos you've had in town, and they are cheap. I think you get...
And what's the name of that restaurant?
It's called the Arabian Tacos, and there is an Arabian name to it. It's up on the wall, but I have no idea how to pronounce it. I'd have to go back and write it down and let you know.
Oh, I'll dig them up on Facebook. I'll find them.
Okay, but that's a really cool way to find places, that when you want to keep going back and back and you don't even know the name of the place other than the Arabian taco place.
So true.
My go-to place when I need to get out of Playa is to go to Pamul. It's only 20 minutes from Playa south on the highway. It's a very small little RV community tucked right in along the beach on a really cool little bend in the beach side there. It's not very busy this time of year. It does get busier in January to March period, but this time of year it is so secluded and so awesome. They have a great little restaurant there. They have good snorkeling there. They have a dive shop there if you're into diving. It's really my go-to place to get out of town.
Nice, and it's pretty close by Playa and easy. What I would say it's 10, 15 minutes down the road.
Yeah, it's not much more than maybe 20 minutes down the road, and you can catch the colectivo here in Playa, and it stops at Pamul, and you just walk a block or two in from the highway, or you can get a taxi out there. It's not that expensive to get a taxi out there too.
That's incredible. Now I have to ask: have you tried diving? Are you a diver? Is your passion more, or do you have a passion for snorkeling?
When I first came here, I snorkeled a lot. We would go lots of snorkeling places. We'd go to Cozumel to go snorkeling, but I have found over the last 10 years that snorkeling spots are getting harder and harder to find. The ones that we used to go to in Cozumel even are now beach clubs that require a hefty fee to get into, and therefore I have not enjoyed as much snorkeling the last couple of years. I am not a scuba diver. It has never interested me. I'm too fearful of the water, I think. I'm a good swimmer, but I don't want to push it.
No, I understand. And so is there something aside from aside from your nonprofit involvement with KKIS, are there any like outdoor activities that you participate in or that you enjoy, that when you want a little bit of change of pace from the urban life of Playa, that you indulge in?
I'm a walker, so I often take off and go walking different places, just around Playa usually. It's a great town to walk in because it's flat, and I don't trust myself on a bicycle with the traffic in Playa anymore. So I just walk, and every Saturday morning I head off to the beach and I walk north on the beach for an hour or more, maybe stop once or twice to swim, and just keep walking. And when I get as far as I can go, I turn around and walk back. I love being out on the beach in the morning. It's really calming. It allows you to collect your thoughts because it's just you and the wind and the water.
Wow. No, I love, I like to walk Playa. I used to go really early in the morning and walk the Quinta from like 38th down to the ferry dock. And it was great because there was nobody there and the stores weren't closed. And it was just a very different view of Playa del Carmen before everybody wakes up. It's very peaceful and just you kind of feel like you have the whole town to yourself.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So, Gayle, I want to ask, how can people find you, find out more information about KKIS and get involved with your organization, or where they can drop off school supplies? I know that, Christmas is coming, and, I know in our office we get asked a lot by guests coming to the area about bringing down gifts or school supplies for kids. Where can people reach you? People
can find us at www.kissproject.org. And again, that's spelled KKIS project.org. We take donations of school supplies. In fact, we rely as part of our budget on donated items. On our website, you'll find a list of items to bring, but it's not long and complicated. We actually need thousands of everything. So thousands of pocket folders, thousands of boxes of colored pencils, thousands of pens and pencils, thousands of glue sticks. So make it easy on yourself. If you want to bring something with you, find something lightweight like glue sticks, take them out of the packaging, and just cram them into your suitcase or your backpack. You can also drop them off at different places in Playa. They are listed with their addresses on our website, but they are the Wawa Beach Bar, right down on the beach at 2nd Street. They are the Don Shendo restaurant on 30th Avenue and 24th Street. And we have another one at the Snorkel Shop on 8th Street and 20th Street.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I just want to remind everybody is that if you didn't jot down those street addresses, that you can visit today's show notes at locogringo.com/podcasts. And we will have not only a link over to KISS's website, but we'll also include some other information to get in touch with Gayle, and so you can get involved while you're here on vacation, and to, pay it forward and help the kids here in the Playa del Carmen area. Well, Gayle, I can't thank you enough, and I really commend you, and am just honored that you had the time you sound like a very busy woman, and you've just had, it's really an honor to find someone who's really so entrenched in helping kids develop here in the Playa del Carmen, Riviera Maya area. It's really big kudos and hats off to you and everybody who's involved.
Well, thank you very much. I'll pass that on to the rest of the people that work with me. Sometimes coming here, when people are coming on vacation, it's not easy to remember to bring things like school supplies. So if it's much easier, they can just go to our website and make a donation. And if they live in the U.S., they can claim it on their taxes. It's just that easy.
Okay, great. And we can put a link over to your donations page as well from Loco Gringo, so that people can just, if they aren't coming down or they don't want to haul stuff down, they can just put it on MasterCard and Visa, which that works just as well.
Absolutely right.
Alrighty, Gayle. Well, thank you so much again, and I hope to hear from you guys. Please let everyone here at Loco Gringo know when you guys have events, and we'd love to do everything we can to support you and get the word out to the people that we touch on a daily basis.
Well, it was nice of you to ask me to participate in this. I'm always willing to have more people help us. Thanks.
Well, a big muchas gracias to all of you for joining us today, and a big thank you to Gayle for her time and all our information about her great program at KISS. Loco Gringo's on social media if you didn't know it. Who isn't these days? But you can find us on Facebook, Loco Gringo Mexico, as well as on Instagram and Twitter. So we invite you to follow us on social media. We put out some really great information. Well, until next week, everyone, hasta la vista.
Thanks for listening. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe. For links, show notes, and more information, head on over to locogringo.com or give us a call toll-free at 800-478-0081.
Porque se tragó la luna, estaba enferma la rana, su madre soga que soga, dedos de pluma la panza, pensó ranita que luna era una toronja blanca, y aunque la luna es de leche, la leche estaba cortada. Croa, croa, dedos de pluma, croa, croa, dedos de agua, croa, croa, dedos de pluma.